All right, we're back. This is pretty dry. I think it's all the way dry. It's hard to tell with this oil, the thing we did the wash, because it's supposed to look oily. So you have these kind of like shiny, like is it wet? I don't know. It's supposed to dry really wet looking. But we're going to go ahead anyway with the next step, which is the dry brushing. And for this we're going to use another Citadel paint, Ethereum Blue, which really is kind of a grayish, whitish. And we're going to use our crappiest brush for this. This is a little beat up. You can see you would never want to try to do any kind of real detail work on this. You couldn't. Bloop, bloop, bloop. You couldn't. I mean, it's just, if you're still so new to the hobby that you don't have a crappy old brush, then prepare to make one crappy by dry brushing. What I do is get just a glob of paint on the end, and then you want to sort of take your newspaper or something and like blot it, I guess, to get all the excess off, because you just want a tiny bit. I mean, you can barely see it on there, but against this dark colored miniature, it's going to show up really well. And what's going to happen, what we discussed in the last video, is you're going to brush it on, and all the high ridges and everything are just going to kind of grab that paint and hold on to it, and you're going to get really good light colored highlights like this guy. You see that's exactly what happened here. So what you have to do is move your brush like this, and that way you're not going to have brush lines or strokes. You're just going to have a nice even coat. So let's give it a shot here. See what's happening there? Did you see that? It's subtle. See the difference already? Now, whoa, it's easy to overdo, but the drier your brush is before you start, the more pressure you're going to have to put on in order for the paint to come off. So usually what I do is get just barely any paint on here, and then you can actually put a lot of pressure on the brush before it starts picking up that paint, and that gives you it gives you a lot more, it's a lot more forgiving. Like if you make a boo-boo, you don't have just this white spot like I kind of did here. He's starting to look like a skunk now. And that's okay. Painting is a lot of trial and error. There we go. So now he's got some highlights. He looks very detailed. He looks like we spent a lot of time filling in these lines and stuff, but we didn't, did we? This video's at 4 minutes, and most of that I've just been rambling at you. You can see it's just really easy to do this kind of simple paint technique. Okay. So basically, at this point, you could just throw your brushes down and say, I'm done. that's it. Of course, it's really hard for me to do that. So what we're going to do is get into the more detailed, and fill in his eyes and try to get some detail in his teeth and stuff. We're also going to give this lady a mustache and a goatee. How about that? And that's the mark of a true artist, right? Get out of here, lady. You're distracting me. Okay, so for his eyes, we're going to make them red because he's supposed to be an evil puppy dog. So we've got this just generic kind of, it's kind of a rusty, orangey red. And you just get the tiniest little dot of paint on the end of your detail brush. And this is the most nerve-wracking part. Ready? Here we go. If you've seen other YouTube videos, a lot of painters they just stick their brush just right on the spot, like it ain't even a thing. They just go bloop, bloop. I can't do that. I don't have that kind of accuracy. So what I like to do is choke up on the brush and actually rest my finger on it and just